All right, welcome everybody to episode 1 of the Twitch Creative Spotlight. I'm Joe, otherwise known as GamerDad, and I'm joined with my partner in crime, Neil, otherwise known as ImpendingDuff. How you doing, Duff?
Doing marginal. I'm suffering from some upper respiratory issues that I passed to my son, and now my son passed back to me. So
Like ping pong.
I'll make it though.
You'll
Yeah.
make it?
Well, I got the con plague, and then gave it to my 1.5-year-old, and now he gave it to me. So doctor in the morning for me.
Well, hopefully you'll make it through this one. But
Yep.
tonight marks a new era. I am not familiar with any other creative-based podcasts that focus on the overall Twitch creative community. So I'd like to think that we are embarking on something new. And so we've known each other for over a year now.
That,
Yep.
I think I'm subbed to you for like 14 months, so somewhere in that realm.
Yeah, at least so we've known each other at least 14 months.
Right.
So together, Duff and I are going to take you all into the world that we have formerly known as Twitch Creative, now known as either Twitch Art or Twitch Makers and Crafting. And so really hoping to get you guys some like enlightening moments in the creative community, going along with this podcast. We hope to bring in interviews with content creators in the different creative spaces, bring you some knowledge, excitement, and all of those hobbies, and just different styles of creative. There's more than just gaming out here on Twitch, as you know from what you see us do regularly. And we just want to bring a little bit of visibility into that small corner, our small corner of Twitch.
Yeah.
So
What I'm looking forward to is, most of everybody knows we're miniature painters, and I'm really looking forward to reaching out to the different branches of the creative tree and talking with other people. There's leather workers. I've seen taxidermists. I'm a former taxidermist, and I found a taxidermist out there. So there's all kinds of crazy creative
wild
folks out here, and we're hoping to hopefully touch base with all of them. Well, not all of them, but at
as
least
many as possible.
as many as possible. Yeah.
So what do you say we get this show on the road?
Absolutely.
So you guys know me. I don't think any of you really have heard my real name very often until tonight, but I am Joe, otherwise known as GamerDad. And so really kind of just want to let you know who Duff and I are, where we come from, for those of you who have not met us before. So my name is gamerdadnc. I am from North Carolina. I got started doing this playing games, and I got into Twitch as a nightly thing, so I could stay up late and keep an eye on the monitor for my daughter. Right, my wife went to bed early. I would stay up late for the feedings and stuff like that, and so I became gamer. Yeah, the nighttime feeding. But we had her on 2-hour feedings. And Duff will probably get into this in a little bit as to why. But my daughter was in the NICU for a little while, and we had a very rough, strict feeding schedule, so I needed to do something to stay up late. So I got my name by being everybody's gamer dad, and I would go into game lobbies and say, "Did you ever wonder what it's like to watch your dad play games?" And then I would drop my link, and it was cheesy, it was corny, it breaks all etiquette rules that you guys have ever heard me preach about. But League of Legends trolls hated it. But that's where my name comes from. I got streaming because I saw other people playing games and thought it would be fun. I actually planned on making a YouTube podcast with another dad, and it was going to be Gaming Dads or something along those lines. And that never panned out. And but it worked. It worked well for me to still push forward, and here I am now, a year and a half in at least on streaming. So and what keeps me running is this very same concept. I still have the baby monitor. I still keep an eye on my daughter. My wife goes to bed roughly around this time, and I stay up late because she still does wake up. So in order for each of us to get a good amount of sleep, one gets the monitor on different shifts. And so I keep streaming and stay up late for her, and I love the community. I love painting. Um, I have a lot of fun doing it, and I've really enjoyed meeting so many people in the creative community, which we hope to introduce you to. Um, and but that has been kind of like my goal, where I want to go with what I do is teach people, um, get to know, let my community meet other communities and spread out and grow and stuff like that. Like that's I'm all about sharing the love, or as some of the other streamers I hang out with and chat with, I love sharing a piece of the pie with the rest of Twitch. So Duff, what yeah, if you want to go through where your name comes from and what got you into it and what keeps you going.
So I kind of want to I want to know real quick. You
Hmm.
said you had ambitions, excuse me, of getting started on YouTube with like a dad crew. I know you currently do some YouTube, but did you ever get any gaming content out on YouTube?
Nope.
Okay, because
No.
that's kind of where I came from. Not necessarily gaming. I played a lot of COD competitively, kind of minor competitively, and we did have a few videos out there, but nothing super fancy. But for those of you who saw my special guest a couple of weeks ago on my own stream, Scrock, he's doing the Kickstarter for the Knowing film. He and I had ambitions of starting kind of a comedy YouTube where like we do parodies and stuff of different pop songs, and it's like a big old metalhead doing parodies of pop songs. That's never been done before. So we ended up like filming maybe a day's worth of content, and then he moved to California. So that never took off. But it's funny how like we both had ambitions of YouTube, and now here we are on Twitch. Um, so my name is Impending Duff. Um, there's no real fun, fancy story about how I got the name. My last name is Duffy. People have called me Duff pretty much my entire life. And when I made my Twitch name, it was when Curse bought Twitch, or Twitch bought Curse, whatever it was. And I needed Curse for World of Warcraft add-ons. So I was like, what am I going to make this new account? I can't make it the same thing everything else is. So I was listening to a lot of a band called Impending Doom at the time. So I was like, Impending Duff. That sounds awesome. And I rolled with it. So there's no fancy romantic story about how I got it. It was just kind of in the moment. And everybody calls me Duff. So that's why I went with that. Um, as far as Twitch and how I got started, I had been a miniature painter when I was a teenager. Like most college kids, I purged all of my hobbies for money for God knows what, books, beer, probably, who knows. So I sold all my miniature painting stuff when I was like 19 or 20, and I got back into the hobby. 2017 summer, I went to Gen Con, and the spark kind of lit back up. It had been almost 16, 17 years or something. And I like to paint. I used to paint with my cousin. He'd come over when we were teenagers and spend the night, and we'd just paint all night. And so I'm used to having somebody there when I'm painting. So I'd start listening to Joe Rogan podcasts, and I was like, well, Joe Rogan's getting annoying. And somebody had led me to Twitch. I don't know how, but I ended up in my first stream ever was with a streamer by the name of Rainer72. Most of the miniature painters should know him very well. Very predominant streamer in the miniatures community, and he set the stage, man. I mean, like he was super humble, super cool. I literally had no clue what was going on. I'm asking the stupidest questions in chat, just like, "What does that mean? What does this mean?" And he's stopping everything he's doing, answering me calmly, patiently. And then I met Painting to Scale on Instagram. She was streaming on Instagram, and I kind of took the influence from the two of them and bought a computer, bought cameras, and put myself under the lights. And I've been doing it for May is 14 months now. So that's where I'm at now.
Was this during like Christmas time when you found Rainer? Early
I
early
want to
December?
say, yeah,
Was there
because
an
I've been
idiot
subbed to
asking a lot
Rainer
of
for like
annoying questions about
15
Winsor &
years.
Newton brushes?
I don't remember. I
I was
remember the
that idiot.
first time. I remember the first time I came to your stream was the stream that you were doing, the karaoke stream. Do you remember that?
Hmm. I
Do
remember
you
that all
remember
too
the
well.
song I sang? Because you
No.
were all like so freaked out by it.
Mm-hmm.
I did Gangster's Paradise,
Oh yes, yeah. I
and
was.
I flowed like a master. I was like, ding, ding, ding. And everybody's like, oh shit, or oh poop. Yeah, it was a good time. I don't do karaoke. I used to be a singer in a bunch of metal bands, but I don't do karaoke
Yeah.
very much. So yeah, it was a good time. But I don't remember the Windsor Newton thing at all.
Mm. Yeah, I was. So around that time, I was upping my game for painting as far as what I was using. I was only about 2 or 3 months into being an affiliate, and so using craft store brushes and Citadel brushes. That was my
Yeah,
current.
good
That
old
was
Citadel brushes.
Citadel brushes. When we first get into Games Workshop stuff, and you don't really know better. I mean, they're not bad. They're not awful brushes, but they're expensive for how they wear. Which when we do one of our painting spotlights, we'll cover a lot of
Get
that.
into it.
You
Yeah,
know, but yeah, it's yeah. So I think that was I was getting relatively big and to being a fan of Rainers around that time. I've been around them for a while, but like there was something about that winter because early December, everybody who follows me knows I take a vacation away with the family. It's Hyper Mom, my wife. It's her birthday around the beginning of December, and I take her back home to see her family. And so I I'm away there for about a week, and get to watch a lot of Twitch at night because her family they're farmers. They're in bed by like 8 or 9 o'clock,
yeah.
and so is Hypermom and the kids. So I get to sit on Twitch, watch like football or something on TV, and follow on Twitch. So I get to ask all the obnoxious questions, and that was when Rainer was streaming during weeknights, and I got to hang out with him. So we
Yep.
probably crossed a lot of paths in there for
Oh
a
yeah.
while. So.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so you know who everybody knows who we are. Um, and one of the big things that this podcast is about is shining the light on the creative community. Now, the last few months, um, I don't know, has it been maybe 6 months, if not longer?
At least.
Yeah, Twitch has changed to they went from creative. So we used to just stream in Twitch Creative was the name of the
Yep.
channel. Um, So we went from what we just called creative to they split us in half, um, and we became art and makers and crafting. And there's always been some debate which one do we use, um, and like art has been more about the physical artwork, like watercolors, maybe some digital art stuff like that. Makers and crafting has been more about like the hobby stuff, the fiber arts, the leather working stuff like that. Um, and so it's always cut in half, and you never really know where to go. But um, for painting for us, it's kind of like your choice. I've seen some of the bigger streamers like the Long War. They'll be in makers and crafting sometimes.
Yep.
I've seen some of the triptych folks in art. I go back and forth between the two with what I'm doing. You know, like Gunpla, building Gundam kits. That's makers and crafting to me all day.
Yeah.
When you guys see me making bases, makers and crafting,
Excuse me.
and art. But so we started in creative, and now we split, and they gave us a whole bunch of tags. So I mean, Duff, you've been 14 months, so you've kind of experienced a little bit of both.
Yep.
Like what did you like it one way or the other?
I don't really see a difference. I mean, to me, it's influenced by my opinion. My opinion is that the streamer causes the stream to grow, not the tags.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've seen growth in my stream. Is it the tags that I'm using, or is it the show that I'm producing? I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I like to assume that it's the show I'm producing. I hope it's the show I'm producing, but I don't think we as streamers have the right information to know for sure.
Sure.
I don't think Twitch would ever release them to us. Um, I think it's nice to have those tags. I've had people come into my chat and say, "Oh yeah, I was just perusing the traditional painting tab and saw
Mm-hmm.
you came on it. Oh, cool, excellent." So I definitely see when I do like just chatting, or the other day when I did my celebration stream, and I was playing games with viewers, and I had the play games with viewers tag. I definitely got more trolls than I ever do.
Oh, sure.
creative usually is pretty relatively troll free. So that night, I think we handed out 4 bans. I think I've handed out 5 in the total of my
Right.
stream history. So um, I think they do influence viewers in some way, shape, or form. I just don't think that they influence an influx in
Sure.
any way.
Sure. Well, I think it'll still be good to kind of get into the difference, right? I
Yeah,
mean, we talked about since Twitch Creative used to be the name of the game that you know when you stream on Twitch, you select the game, and then you used to select like up to 3 categories, which were freeform. You can create categories or you can use existing categories. So since we've split into 2 games, um, Twitch is relatively flexible in how you use them. You know, I've seen our communities kind of evolve into defining which way to go. But it comes down to tags. When Twitch changed from creative to art versus makers and crafting, they also gave us preset tags. They're predefined that you can't create new ones. You can request them and stuff like that, but they they have their own like preset rules. So we have miniature painting or
miniature figures. Yep.
miniature figures as a tag. We have wargaming as a tag. We have painting and traditional painting as tags.
Yep.
Educational, tutorial. You can see, for those of you watching live, you can see that we're under interviews and educational and tutorial, because those are some of the intents behind the show.
Yep.
But you know, I find that I have clicked on my, like if I go up to my stream, I've clicked on one of the tags just to see who else is live.
Yeah.
Um, and it helps to find people. So I don't know if, like you said, I don't know if people are coming into my channel because they went to a miniature figures tag or an art tag, or they wanted tutorials or whatever. And they might be under art and went to the to tutorials tag, but it, I think it's been more defined, right? Whether or not people are using it, at least there's a structure and a
Yeah.
finite list.
Yep.
Because if there wasn't, you'd have a minifigs category, a miniature figures category, a miniature figs category, a painting figs. You know, you'd have like 15 different ones,
Yeah.
and it was a pain in the butt. What did we used to use for our category?
I can't even
Was it
remember.
miniatures?
No, I think it was just straight creative. I
Well,
could
that
check
was
my
the game
dashboard.
name. That was the game name. But we used to have 3 categories, and I know, it was either next level painting or the long war in general. One of them created a category or started using a category. It's almost just like using, it was like using a hashtag. You can just freeform whatever
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah.
I feel
You
like it
can put it right in
was,
your title.
yeah, I think they just had mini painting or something along those lines. And everybody would just use that and kind that, I mean, so that helped set the stage, but Twitch had no control over um the 15 iterations of that existed.
And I'll often now I'll put myself under scale modeling even, especially if I'm building
Mhm.
instead of painting for the night or doing some kind of conversion. I'll
Mhm.
throw it. It's okay to play with the tags, try one, drop one, try one, see if something changes. I mean, that's what they're there for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun. I mean, I've got a couple that I'm set with. Like I like to run tutorial and I like to run miniature figures if I've
Yeah.
got figures. You know,
Yep.
when I do Gundam, I always like to have anime on there, and I like to go to makers and crafting, but there's no rules for that.
No.
Now, certainly I can't do something like mode creative or mid lane, right? I can't,
Right.
you don't want to like bait and switch, because then you'll just have nobody. But you know, if it's intuitive, if it kind of makes sense for what you're doing, tags are freeform. You get up to 5 of them. I think they reset every Tuesday or something like that. So you have to re-add them. But you know, they're good. They work.
You have to excuse me. I have to blow my nose.
Oh yeah, no, go for it. Go for it. Or, we'll wait. We'll just, he's just, where is he? Right. Can we knock on the
No knocking. Hashtag sick.
change your air filters?
I
Did you do
did.
it yet? You did?
Went right to Lowe's as soon as Mama got home. I went to Lowe's and bought
Good.
the highest premium quality one you could buy. That was embarrassing. Let me just tell you, I never let him go that long.
Yeah.
Anyway, back on topic.
When so the topic is now when you blow your nose, do the tentacles come out? Duff
Every
Thulu.
now and then,
Okay.
you can see my mustachio is getting a little long. That means probably the tentacles are getting a little long too.
um so all right, we've beaten up the whole composition of Twitch creative. Um you know, some of the content you'll find in creative, we plan to open your eyes to some of those. I know some really cool leather workers, and I don't really know any woodworkers as of late, but there's
Do they have to be streamers?
I don't know any streaming woodworkers or content creators that do woodworking.
Yeah. Well,
I not in a while. I knew someone who used a lathe live on stream, and she would
I
just
was going to say Joe or Thober.
not
He
familiar
doesn't
with
do it
that
on
person.
stream, but
Well, but that's the whole point of the Twitch Creative Spotlight is to, so speaking of our plans, like what we want to really achieve is to kind of reveal to the world what content exists, not necessarily highlighting a specific streamer, but using or having those specific streamers come on to help educate those the viewers of the podcast to listen in on what else is out there, right? A bunch of you are here because you know that Duff and I paint minis, right? I'm seeing our live chat go, and a bunch of people are commenting on us, right? So you know us, but nobody knows. Let's see, Suchi Kuchi. Actually, I think she changed her name.
changed
Uh,
it. Yep.
yeah, nobody knows. Nobody here may be aware of Quill Tony or Mottfolio, who streams on occasion, or Witchy, who does stuff with doll heads. There's a lot of people to get to know in the different aspects of the creative community, um, in physical and digital, um, creative, right? When I say physical versus digital, I mean those who have cameras aimed down at a hobby desk or workstation, revealing a physical activity, versus um, digital art, like with a tablet or editing photos or
Excuse
editing
me.
videos, stuff like that. So, like, Duff, what do you what plans do you really kind of have with where we go with this podcast?
I kind of want to reach out to people we don't really know. I want to profile people and kind of not, I guess bizarre would be the wrong term to use, but off the beaten path crafts.
Hmm.
Um, Things that I don't necessarily ever go to myself, like maybe cosplayers, prop makers, just something strange. I'd love to talk to a perler. I used to do that stuff when I was younger, and I've got a ton of cousins who do
I
it
have
for
thousands in a
our.
bucket over there. I'm not kidding.
We could reach to so many stretches and find such amazing talent across this entire platform, and that's what I'm kind of really excited about finding. I mean, there are people we could skirt the boundaries of whether or not this is creative or not, but I've seen people that do, and forgive me for anybody out there that does this if I butcher the pronunciation of it. Tarot card reading. I mean,
Tarot
that's a
reading, yeah,
craft, you know.
sure,
That's a skill. That's something. In my mind, that's a creative skill. It's fun, if nothing less. And
yeah,
there are people out there that paint, they customize Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon cards.
hmm,
There's all kinds of amazing artists in the world of Twitch streaming that we can reach out to. So it's a matter of doing my homework, but I do plan on finding some
hmm,
off the beaten path type people. But I also kind of want to reach out to people that are not necessarily predominant on Twitch per se, but they're out there creating creative content, maybe on YouTube or where have you. I think that would be beneficial too.
yeah. No, I think it'll be great. And what better way to introduce the community to these places than to have our community involved in that outreach?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna say it. Whoever does the closeout each podcast, if you know somebody, or if you know of a creative space, or if you know of this or that, reach out. We do want, to know if you know us through our painting, but there's another hobby you're into, and you know somebody that you really have learned a lot about that hobby from, they need to get in touch with us, and we need to talk to them to see if it's something where we could bring them on here because, um, getting someone like Pure Chaos to come in and talk about perlers, right? Or to get Dayray or Maha, or just people we know to talk about cross stitching, or to reach out to somebody that they may know that they learned about cross stitching from. Um, it's I think there's a lot out there, and I plan it when we get this podcast will be done when we sit down and go, you know what? I don't think there's a hobby we haven't found yet. I think we found it all. Like the end
Challenge
of the
accepted.
internet, right? Yeah, that's when this
Yeah.
podcast is done, when we can say that we have shown you everything there is to Twitch Creative, what we've known as Twitch Creative, RIP Twitch Creative, by the way. It's we actually still have the creative tag. When you pick Twitch art or Twitch makers and crafting for your game category, it actually auto tags the word creative in there because that's what it used to be. So I don't think we'll ever find the end of the internet. So this podcast
No.
is going to go as long as we can make it go.
I'm looking at makers and crafters right now, and wow.
Yeah.
There's currently 612 viewers of makers and crafters.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even just art. We could search art, and I guarantee you that number is doubled.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
3D
Yeah.
printers. I mean, there's all kinds of people. Gunpla, of course. There's tons of Gunpla. There's a guy
Exactly.
building a log house.
Like with the wooden.
It's not Lincoln logs. It's like
Okay.
he's legit cutting a scale house. I am
Okay.
going to follow this dude
And then you're
right now.
also going to whisper me the link, and I'm going to put it on my follow list so I can go check it out as well. Because unfortunately, the screen I would normally use for viewing is well, that's a cool name. The screen that I would use to see podcasts and streams and stuff like that. It's off to the side, and it's kind of how we're getting this image. So um, so we know what we want to achieve.
There's so many options here.
It's
There's a
so.
dude renovating a house right now.
Is your cousin streaming?
No, God,
um,
it's
so
endless.
it's ridiculous. Yeah. So guys, I challenge you to help us find the end of the internet, so to speak. Um, Bombard us with all of the content you can of things that we can discuss and put the spotlight on. Right. We went through multiple names of this podcast. Duff doesn't remember all of them, including sometimes the actual name of what we're doing. I had to sneak it in there somehow, Duff.
I can't even. I don't have a rebuttal because I gotta own what I am. All right.
I just remember we're getting it all, and it's like, and so it's the Twitch, it's the creative podcast. What?
I can remember my
We
phone number from when I was 7 years old and how to play every Metallica song on guitar, which I haven't played guitar in almost 16 years. I can play every Metallica song on guitar still to this day, but I couldn't remember what this podcast was going to be called.
No, I can't
Sorry.
remember my first phone number. I could spit it out, but now that I'm trying to, so I don't even what were we gonna call it? We were originally looking into the Twitch Creative Podcast.
Yep.
And I got to be honest, it's kind of boring. Like, well, what are we doing? We're gonna do a podcast about Twitch Creative. So naturally, let's call it. And
Twitch Creative.
some people are out here, and I want to give a huge thank you um to TRUgaming. Right,
Yep.
they are supporting us. The lower third you see here, the color changing little video and all that. That's right. This bar that changes colors. That's courtesy of them. They've been huge supports. We are both partnered with TRUgaming, so they are going to be hosting this podcast on their YouTube and various podcast sites once we finish the recording and produce it. Hopefully, true official True Bucket will stop by periodically. We hope. As you see, for those of you reading chat, there is a True Bucket.
I
So
actually don't know what the bucket is.
so
I
when
just
they
know
were
it's a
doing
thing.
their PC building streams, Home Depot is known for their orange, right? Everything
Yep.
orange. So Home Depot has a 5 gallon bucket.
You got 5 and 7.
Yeah, so they've got one of those 5 gallon jugs or buckets, and it just like is like, let's do this, whatever their slogan was at the time, and it's a bucket.
I
And
already
when they
know
were
where this is
doing
going.
yeah, when they were doing giveaways, on the True Gaming stream, when they were doing PC giveaways, everybody wanted. They're like, oh, well, can you put it in the bucket and give me the bucket? Like everybody wants the bucket. So now there's a True Bucket emote, and somebody, a very big, we don't know who it is, and I don't think the True Gaming employees know who it is either, because I don't think it's someone at True. And if it is, they're not telling the other employees. So it's a big secret on who the True official.
Who
Someone
it
made an
is.
official True Bucket account. So that's the backstory behind that, and why there's a True Bucket emote. But anyway, so a huge thank you to True Gaming,
Yeah.
Duff for all the support and patience of putting up with getting this situated. We've been wanting to do this since January, and
Has
but
it
there's
only been January? I feel
yeah.
like it's been longer than
Well,
that.
when Grindhead Jim and I stopped season 2 of True Talk, right? We figured
Oh,
6 months
yeah.
worth of the podcast, and we transitioned it over to Mr. Pure Instinct. Um, I'd already had the bug put in my ear from Green Cord that we don't know anybody doing a podcast like this.
Right.
So let's get something going. And between the conventions that they've been involved with, between some of the charity stuff they've done, and what I've been doing, and you and I being busy, it's been really hard
Yeah.
to get everything going. But we're here. So again, thank you to them. Thank you to you, Useless Wizard. I don't think he's expecting to hear his name, but Useless Wizard has been much more than useless when it comes to talking about this. Um, he joined in our Discord channel and provided a lot of input, a lot of creativity. Um, if I remember correctly, he might have been the one that helped with the original concept in the logo. And
Yeah.
guys, it's just a square with the words. It's basic, but that doesn't mean the idea was basic. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into a logo and what it is. And we it was his idea and it was awesome. He's a pretty cool dude. We've had Snickerneck Studios really helping us get some things together. Just a couple people hanging out and just sharing their ideas, being creative and getting this going is really been kind of helpful
And
to
that's a
us.
couple of really passionate people about the creative industry. I
Mm-hmm.
had the pleasure of meeting both of them at Adepticon and spending
Oh, Useless was at
considerable time
Adepticon?
with them. Yeah, this is my Adepticon
Well, I
shirt.
know that's your shirt, but you said you met Useless at the con?
Yeah, Useless
Didn't know he
and
was there.
Yeji from
Yeah, Jim,
Snickerneck,
yep.
and just extremely passionate people. In fact, Useless, I don't think I ever saw him outside of the community painting area. It was a beautiful area where like all the big name painters and competition painters hang out. He was there rubbing elbows and getting pointers and learning from them pretty much every
Hmm.
time I went down there. So that dude is passionate about his craft, and he is one hell of a genuine human being. And the same can go for Yeji from Snickerneck for sure.
Yeah, yep, yep. So, one of the things that I did want to talk about, um, a lot of viewers don't may not realize. I don't want to assume that they don't. Some people who aren't actual streamers themselves may not realize there's a lot of different. I don't want to say more or less, but there's a lot of different things that go into what we do. Um, Specifically talking about um, the hobby side, the physical artwork itself, where you're not on a digital screen. There's a lot that goes into it. Duff, do you remember how much time would you say you put into researching your starting setup? Forget where you are now, because I know that you and I have talked for a long time about your upgrades. Just your basic setup,
You mean like day one before I hit go live?
what you had on your desk when you did hit the go live button.
Um,
How much effort did it take to investigate all of that?
Considering I'm a tech idiot, it took so much. I mean, hours upon hours. My wife, at the time, we had our son was 5 months old, and my wife was like ready to just Bart Simpson choke me,
Mhm.
like, get upstairs and help me with the baby. But I want you to flourish and do what you want to do here. It was like a very back and forth thing.
Hmm.
It probably took me a solid month just to research, set programs up, learn and understand how OBS communicates with bots, how to hook up bots to this, how to do that. And for someone like me who has no clue what they're doing, it's very, very challenging. And unless you could find someone like Gamer Dad here or Rainer, even who also helped me out, you're pretty much screwed. And I'm
Yeah.
experiencing it again right now because I just bought my first 3D printer and I
Hmm.
built it from scratch and now I'm troubleshooting it. I bought it the day I drove home from Adepticon. That was a month ago, a month and a week ago almost. No, a month ago to the date. I drove home on April 1st and I still have yet to get a print out of it. So it's
Yeah.
not easy. It is
It's
not
not.
easy. And we spend a lot of time off
12 months
stream
with a 3D
working on it
printer.
too. 12, well, you have excuses. Don't worry. You're
My
okay.
excuse is that I haven't gone out and tried it myself.
Right. We
Um,
can get it level. That's fine. But getting it to print, I can't help you, bud.
yeah. Um, so I would say I just dove in to streaming, right? Um, I don't even remember how my webcam was mounted. I think I put it on my monitor and just aimed it down.
That's that camera for sure.
Yeah. Um, so I I don't even know. I honestly don't even know how I had my webcam set up. But then I bought a boom arm. But the setups are very, very different. If you go and look at some of the
Yeah.
bigger streamers like Dr. Disrespect or Ninja or Dr. Lupo, the gaming guys, they have it's a standard thing. Two rigs, one for your game, one for your stream. Um, Nice quality mic, good headset. You see some of them wearing glasses, which are specifically
Yep.
made for
Gaming
PC use,
glasses.
right? They've got all the gaming. You need a top of the line gaming rig, and then you need a PC that can handle, usually a separate PC that can handle the stream or one that can handle both, um, with good audio and video, and you're good to go. It's not the same when it comes to physical creative, the what we've also heard as IRL creative. You need you I recommend a face cam.
Yep.
Not required if you can only go with one. Obviously, the priority should be to showing the desktop. You want some sort of an arm or mount or tripod or something like you're about to see drop down. Yep, see? Um, you want one of those, um, specifically one that is designed to hold your video source. What Duff just brought down, I really wouldn't recommend using for like a webcam because it's
Yep.
extremely expensive for what you get out of it.
And
Um,
huge.
and yeah, it's a 5 foot boom arm that's got
It's obscenely big.
yeah, yes, yeah, just right. Where's Super Sarah and Eater? Just remember that whole. um, but so my general recommendation for physical art is two cameras. The higher quality of the two should be your hobby camera, and then the standard quality one should be your face camera if you
Yep.
are willing to put your face, or you can use a face rig if you want the streamer's appearance in some form, right? Face rig, webcam, whatever. You'll need a video source for that. And then you unfortunately need to spend a little bit of money on some sort of lighting. Go to Target, Walmart, wherever, eBay, or Amazon, whatever, and just get some cheap desk lamps to start. But it's super simple. Um,
Man.
yeah,
$10. IKEA. This is also what I mounted my first camera on for my subject matter.
yep,
It's like $10. I don't know what it's called, some Swedish crazy name, but you
yep.
take the light off of this mount, and then you can get. I don't have it right now, but you can get a 3D printed bracket for a C920 or a 922 from Logitech. That's what I used for a year, basically.
Mm-hmm,
And two of these lights, either side of your either side of you or either side of your subject matter, you're good to go.
mm-hmm.
I just borked it. We'll mess with it later.
And depending on the lighting, I have some diffused. I've got some soft boxes on my lights, and all that is just a soft cloth that's diffusing some of the lighting, so it's not as harsh. Um, I don't think you're diffusing the lights that are on your face right now, are you?
They're actually soft boxes. They are
Those are on
very
your
much
face?
soft boxes. I don't know if I can. Yeah, they're on my face, but they're very thin soft boxes. My
Yeah.
wife got me dust falling off it when I moved it. My wife got me the whole green screen. I got two umbrellas. They're soft umbrellas on either side of
Hmm.
that, and then I've got two soft boxes above me, kind of working both. They're kind of pointing down this way,
Hmm.
but I get them so high up and pointed on an angle that's why I'm so bright when I
Yep.
raise my hands because the light's refracting on me. But that's the next thing I got to upgrade. I mean,
Yeah.
you buy what gets you by, and then you upgrade as you can.
Well, if I may,
Maybe $150, $200 for the set.
where is? Let me see if I can find it. All right. I got this idea from when I looked up lighting makeup artists. Okay?
Yeah, yep.
This
I've
is
thought
my
about doing that with
yeah,
my subject matter cam.
and that is a very good thing. Now, I'm seeing live chat going, and post production people will not be able to see live chat running. But I've seen paper, parchment taped over lights. Great idea.
Yep.
Not for the old incandescent lights that
No.
get super duper hot, because I'm not gonna say do it and you start a fire. Dad says no. But
No.
yes, depending on the lighting, if you're using like an LED light bulb or something that's not necessarily high heat source, technically speaking, the way parchment paper works is the same way that our soft boxes work, and it's totally reliable. So you know what? If you've got a reasonable light source that's bright enough and it's not overly heated, and you don't want to or need to invest in the high cost of a soft box or a light upgrade, it's totally reasonable. It's totally doable. I have done it.
I would not recommend covering these in paper.
No.
There's a reason why I always have a fan going when I'm streaming. These things get warm too, even though they're low output, yada yada. These things are very warm, very warm.
Yes. Yeah, and even if you are going to do that with light bulbs that don't necessarily get super hot, you're obviously going to want to put the parchment on in a way that's not very close to the light if
Yeah,
possible. Keep some range. Whether you're using an actual softbox kind of setup, I believe there's a good 4 to 6 inches between. I'm looking up at the softbox now. 4 to 6 inches between the light bulb and the actual material. I've got some
yeah,
what are advertised as probably travel lights. They're the ones I got
on the
from you,
hobby
Duff.
spot.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So, they're great. They're really useful. But yeah, so it essentially a white or some sort of a white fabric
daylight,
or
daylight
paper or
in the
something to
blue
cover.
spectrum.
Yeah, to cover a daylight white bulb. Um, the yellow incandescent bulbs will get you a different kind of shade.
Yep.
So, but yeah, you want to make sure you've got, and gaming streamers also worry about lighting, right? Green screen. This is just a bonus. This is just for funsies, right? Not required. What Duff? You know what my rule is when someone asks me about streaming? I'm thinking about streaming. What do I do?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's
The
just
just
shut
shut
up and
up and
stream.
do it.
Yeah. So you know, you don't necessarily need the bells and whistles. You don't need a fancy chair. You don't need a fancy green screen. You don't need a face rig. You don't even need a face cam. You need to be able to show the artwork you're doing, illuminate it in a way, and make sure that you have something that's more than a $5 USB trash mic. And I only say that because there's nothing wrong with using it, but get whatever you can to get going. Just know that over time you will probably want to make changes. The reason I make the comment about a $5 trash mic is because it'll give you more heartache than help,
Yeah,
right? So, but and I'm seeing comments in chat as well. Good equipment is a reflection of a good stream, not the cause of a good stream. So I'm using a Shure SM57 microphone on a Behringer mixer. You don't need this. You don't need this at all. I know plenty of people who use headset mics. I know plenty of people who use Yeti mics. Um, you know,
People
I
that use their webcams as
Mhm.
their input source.
Sure,
And there's nothing wrong with that as long
not
as
at
you're
all.
starting out, you're getting going, and you're sharing with the world your
Right.
craft. Because Joe does his painting completely different from mine. We share a lot of viewers, but they probably watch us for different reasons.
Hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with the way I paint versus the way he paints versus the way any of you in chat paint. I mean,
Yeah.
just go live because that's how we're going to learn by seeing
Hmm.
each other, by seeing how, you know, I was wet blending a certain way for a couple of months, and then I took a class with someone and I learned a new way, and then I took another class with someone and I learned the way that works for me. If I didn't get exposed to that person's style, I'd probably still be frustrated with that technique. They just go live, share it with the world.
Right.
That's what
Right.
it's all about.
Um, and when we get into the different areas of the spotlight, the only reason we're talking about traditional setups for creative is because they're going to be different within each aspect of creative. Like what you and I are doing are different setups. We've played off each other because we know each other well enough and kind of exchange ideas. But um, the, uh, the the whole reason I bring up basic setups is because the details around just the bare minimum of hobby camera or good enough video card to support a tablet or Adobe or whatever digital work you're doing versus hobby work. You just need a camera, a microphone, and a strong enough computer.
Yep.
Uh, when you get into the different aspects of creative, the details beyond that will be a little different. You know, um, I really don't recommend like a cheap unknown name brand um, webcam from Amazon that cost $4.99 with Amazon Prime.
Oh, oh,
Um,
no.
because you may not get the components you need to get the resolution you could potentially output. You don't necessarily, for mini painting as an affiliate or a new streamer, want to go and get something like the Logitech Brio. Why? Because it says I think it advertises as a 4K if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
But you can try and stretch to the 1080p at only 30 frames. But as an affiliate, you're not really going to
can't
be
even get
expecting
there.
to output you can output to 1080 if your internet supports it, but your standard viewer will not be able to receive it.
No,
And
they can only
and
get
you'll
it to
right,
720.
yeah, and you'll buffer like crazy. So, um, it's just a little bit of research into your aspect. I know that there's some other creative streamers that we will talk to that have multiple cameras, not one face cam, or maybe multiple cameras for different rooms, and multiple cameras for their different tools. We know a leather worker that she has several cameras in different rooms, um, because of all of the different work
Oh,
surfaces
she's all
she uses.
over the place.
Yeah, yeah,
In a good
um,
way. In a
yeah,
good way.
absolutely. We
Trying to
know.
find her new name.
I
I
think
don't
it's
remember.
Soulbound Leather.
That's
Um,
it. Thank you.
so we know um, a I guess an IRL streamer or a just chatting streamer who uses 4 computers and who knows how many cameras beyond that.
No, I know he. The week before I raided into him for that crazy stream, he had just got his fifth and sixth Alienware computer sent to him. Fifth and sixth. Insane.
So,
I'm going to
um,
reach out to him and see if he wants to join us on here because I
absolutely,
think that would be a trip.
yeah, that would be really really cool because that may not be necessarily under the creative tag, but that is creative work, guys. So remember, you don't have to have a paintbrush or a crafting tool in your hand or a stylus in your hand or doing a painting on your tablet to be considered creative. There are millions of ways, millions upon millions of ways of considering what you do as creative. There's even I'd love to tap into music
Yeah.
as well. There's people that create their own music, the people that sing music. There are numerous things. So that is
Metalhead
our plan.
Kyle.
Metalhead guy. Well, yeah, sure. Um, and we're not necessarily looking for the experts. we're looking for the people in those spaces that embrace that aspect of creative and can tell us about that aspect of creative. That's really what we're going to be looking for. So the whole point of this podcast, like Duff and I have been saying for the last hopefully hour or so, is we want to shine the spotlight on the creative side of Twitch, whatever that may be. Um, you know, we want to show off who we know, and also just as important, we want to show off who you may know and can introduce us to show off Twitch. It's not just us grabbing the interviews, guys. So Duff, what you got anything else for us?
Just kind of to back you up, I mean, if you use these or your feet, whatever you use to create something, I want to talk to you. I want to get to know you. I want to know more about it. If you guys know someone, like Joe said multiple times,
Yeah.
shoot us a Discord message. Let us know. We'll look into it. Obviously, we want to more so promote the people that are doing this positively. We're not looking for anybody who's kind of negative and bagging on people, but um, it's just such an amazing world. I've always been very 3D oriented, with my creativeness. So that's something I always enjoy, is seeing how other people are creating things, and that's why I think I'm following over 200 people or something on Twitch, and I'd say 190 of them are creative people. So
Yeah.
share with us. We want to showcase them and hopefully inoculate the world with the creative craziness.
Absolutely.
Let's get it out there.
Absolutely. But I think that's gonna wrap it up. Neil, this was a little bit shorter of a planned episode for us, just to
Yep.
get out there to get everybody to know us. Um, but if you want to, at least for in the chat right now, go ahead and drop your link or shout out in the channel, so those who've watched us live get to know who you are. So this podcast is recorded on the GamerDadnc channel. That link will be in all of the production descriptions. ImpendingDuff is my co-host is the only way to describe it, but we are both running this together. We're both hosting this together. We just happen to be doing it on my channel. It will be published to the TRUgaming, the proper YouTube and audio podcast sections as well. So give us some follows, come back, say hey, ask us questions. Duff, why don't you tell us a little bit about when you're live on your channel for anybody listening in?
Yeah. So typically Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till about midnight. Sometimes I go late. Saturdays, I start at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'll end around 9 o'clock. But every Saturday, I keep the party rolling with my buddy Joe, and I raid into him, so you guys can basically get about 10 hours worth of miniature painting and gunpla and hobby creating between the two of us. We're always doing some kind of crazy project. So
Yeah.
But I do want to say, you guys, I personally love feedback. So if there's anything you want to see as far as like format here, feel free to shoot me a Discord message. Let me know,
Yeah.
because I appreciate that feedback 100%.
Yep, absolutely. And the same goes here. If you're watching this kind of post production, if you're watching the VOD, feel free to leave a message in the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube or in any other platform, leave some comments, and Neil and I will be more than happy to go back and read them and respond to them if they need a response. I think you got
I
me
got you
sick.
sick.
Yeah, somehow. I don't know, over the internet. Ugh.
Sorry, bud.
But
From Detroit with love.
yeah. Leave us some feedback. You can catch me live Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern, as you can see in the bottom bar. That's when this podcast runs. Guys, if you ever are talking about the podcast, use the hashtag. Just Twitch Creative Spotlight. Actually, I should correct that. Hashtag Twitch Creative Spotlight. You got me saying it now.
You got me.
Is an unused hashtag, so we're going to be acquiring that and using it on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook when we talk about this. Also, Monday nights I do live mentor sessions. So Mentor Monday, big thing. Saturday, as you know, from what Neil was just saying, he'll run the afternoon and then he'll run into me at night. 9 times out of 10, he's coming over my way. And we carry on the party into the night. We call the stream the nightcap because I stream from 9 p.m. until midnight Eastern time, and we've noticed a lot of viewers and some streamers like to come hang out before bed and kind of roll off to sleep. In fact, I know of a viewer who will watch from bed and fall asleep watching the stream. So nightcap seemed to really fit. And we sneak in a Sunday stream at night, and soon to be sometimes early Sunday afternoon streams might be popping up here and there as available, so we can help support some more of our community with some raids. So that's where you can find us. All of that information will also be, or links to our socials will all be in the descriptions. And we look forward to doing this just about every week with you guys. So if you have feedback, like Neil was saying, send it on over to any of our socials. You can email me at gamerdadnc@gmail, all one word. That'll also be in the description. Or ImpendingDuff40k.
Yep, at gmail.com.
It's ImpendingDuff40k for those of you not familiar with the title. Send us emails, let us know, tweet at us, comment on Instagram, hashtag Twitch Creative Spotlight. Let us know what you thought, and we'll be happy to bring the jams to you. Most importantly, though, we love the feedback. We also really want to hear from you and who else to talk to about creative. We don't know all there is to creative. We need you to help us find who to shine that spotlight on. So until next week, guys, just, I guess, keep creative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Neil, it's been a blast. Looking forward to it.
Same, Joe. Appreciate it, man.
Yep. So you guys have a great night, and we will be in touch.
Da ba dee